Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to share some very exciting information tonight, and in approximately half an hour, we're going to cover a fair bit of ground. So if I do talk slightly fast, that is because I am enthusiastic and I feel very blessed to be able to share this information with you. So the question that we all have is, have you been hatched yet? And what do I mean by this? So if you haven't noticed, which you may or may not, but a lot of my friends and family are wearing these cute little band-aids on their bodies. In particular, their C7, which is behind their neck. So just like I am tonight, or just underneath their belly button. And why are they doing this? This is essentially a mechanism and a technology which is relatively new to Australia, about 2.5 years, which is new in terms of science. Elevate, which is demonstrated to elevate, activate, and regenerate. Now, this is really, really exciting. This gentleman here, David Schmidt, so I'm looking over this way, it's because I've got two screens. He's our CEO and our inventor. Now, this guy is a clever cookie. He makes science sound somewhat sexy in the sense that he's able to deliver high-level concepts into the layperson's wording in a really humble way. So he makes this incredible technology sound effortless in a way. And he has over 130 patents. He's a scientist and an inventor. He is specializing in age reversing. So why did he do that? He actually used to be commissioned by the Navy SEALs, the US government, because the Navy SEALs were doing these 3 or 4 day missions, but were relying heavily on stimulants and drugs. And he deemed that this was just not good enough for the veterans. He's like, they deserve better. We've got to do better. So he created a really interesting technology called the energy enhancers a good 20 years ago. And then in 2008, he really pivoted his attention on stem cell research. As a biologist, very interested in the mechanisms of how things age gracefully is probably the best word. And he really started to look at lobsters in particular, because when they age, they actually get stronger. So the older they get, the stronger they are, which is really interesting. And he also turned his research to an amphibian, which has the ability to, if its head is cut off, regrow its own head within 18 days. Now, this is pretty interesting. So when he started to ask, but why? Why can this thing do that? How is that even possible? He undertook his research in the lab to identify that this amphibian had the highest concentration of stem cells in the world. And he said, I'm going to do the regrowing of this thing's head using technology, using light, and I'm going to recreate the environment. This amphibian will be able to regrow its head in a day. And guess what? $4.5 million, and 10 years later, he did it. Nearly went broke 3 times. But he was really committed, and he really knew what he was onto. And if you follow the works of Dr. Lauren Picard, he really started to, he talks a lot about GHKCU, which is a copper peptide, which is what this technology is patented to activate. So this is a copy of the patent. This was created in 2020 and goes for 20 years. So we've essentially got till 2040 with this technology on our own. No one else can recreate it, which is great, because we know that a lot of cool things get recreated or copied or stolen, because they work, whereas this one can't. So as we can see here, the phototherapy, so light therapy, it's a result of the human body, and for example, in some embodiments, as a result of elevating copper peptide, including the activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, and elevation of collagen production. And in particular, improved wound healing. So if you know anyone that's had an operation recently, this is the sort of thing that gets rid of scarring and really recreates that wound healing fast. So why did I say yes to this technology? I said yes because we were looking for a solution for my husband's back pain. And as a practitioner, I had tried all the things. We'd done the bone, the chiro, the MRI, the physio, the etc. We'd done everything, and my husband was still crippled with pain. And at the time, we had a farm and a 4 and a 6-year-old child, and I just really started to think, is this what life's going to look like? You know, if you witness somebody that you love in pain, it is absolutely debilitating for them to even experience joy, let alone get out of bed with impact and purpose each day. So a beautiful friend rang me and said, I've got something I'd really love to share with you. I was so busy, I didn't have time. But when we sat down at that cafe and she pulled out the order form and she said, I've got this, and this is what's happened for me. And I thought, you know what? I've been praying for a solution. Didn't think it was going to look like this. But here we are. And I put one on my husband when they arrived. And lo and behold, his discomfort level went from 8 out of 10 to 3 out of 10 in the first day. And I went, what have I got my hands on here? And so I went further and further into research and testimony and hearing why this does what it does. I mean, I had a high level around what it was going to do, but obviously witnessing that in somebody that I love was really powerful. So what modern medicine doesn't tell us. So by the time, so essentially as we age, which we're all doing, unfortunately, the fewer stem cells we have, and that slows down our healing process. And I'll give you a great example. If you've got children or grandchildren, you'll witness they'll cut their finger or something will happen, they'll fall over and scuff their knee, and within days, like they're healed. And if you did that in your 40s and 50s and 60s, it can sometimes take weeks. And that's just essentially the profile of our stem cells are not as active. So we're all experiencing signs of aging, whether it be wrinkles, changing in hair tonality, color, skin, etc. And that's because at the age of 30, we've got about half of our stem cell activity. And by the time that we're 60, they're pretty much waving goodbye to each other. So this is why when we have aging parents and they're falling over and they're hurting hips, it's a very slow, arduous process of recovery, and why they also won't enable operations because the process is too hard on their bodies. So how does this Band-Aid looking thing work? It's science in the most simplified but complex structure. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. And the way I like to think about this is I go out into the sun and I'm exposed to the sun, my skin. There's no vitamin D in the air. There's no vitamin D in the sun. But when my skin is hit with the frequency of light from the sun, it knows how to metabolize vitamin D. Same with this patch. You pop it on your body. It's a patented nanocrystal technology created in a lab in Ireland. It reflects our body's own light back to us like a little mirror. It's non-transdermal, so nothing is going into your skin. There's no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants. It is not a nicotine patch. It is not a HRT patch. It's nothing like that. It's actually organic nanocrystals reflecting light at a frequency which stimulates the mechanism of GHKCU, which awakens those stem cells and get them doing their job. And it's non-invasive. So if you've had a chronic history where you may or may not have used different pharmaceutical medications, they often will have a consequence. The thing that I love about this as a practitioner is that if I put it on your body and you have an irritation to the 3M medical grade adhesive, if you take it off, that will stop. Unlike a mineral or a supplement, if I was to suggest that you use the supplement, you put that, ingest it, it's going to take 3 or 4 days to make that ride stop if your body doesn't agree with it. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to my incredible co-host, Stephanie, who's going to share a little bit more information so you're not hearing me babble on.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Sally Ann. You always present so beautifully. So I'm just going to take over a few little slides and just share the benefits of the X39, what everyone notices and what I noticed too, using the X39, increased in strength, Now I've got 4 grandchildren under 6, and picking them up has been quite, you know, quite hard as they're growing. But I'm finding that I'm picking them up and I'm able to do a lot of things that I couldn't do. I'm actually 61. So I notice a lot of aches and pains and everything. So once I started using the patches, that, you know, my strength increased. Inflammation, I had a lot of joint pain, and that sort of has completely gone. Increased in stamina. That afternoon sort of you know, banana nap that I used to want, or the coffee that I used to reach for, that's completely gone, and I can go all day. Again, you know, energy and vitality is unbelievable. I've had a really big year last year with a lot of family unwell, going down to hospital, down to Sydney and up to Central Coast, up to the Gold Coast. And the energy and vitality that I've had is been nothing like what I've experienced. The last few years, I've had a bit of chronic fatigue, so it's made a huge difference. Mental clarity for me, because I've gone through post-traumatic stress, straight away, I've always said to the girls, it felt like all the fragmented parts had come back. So a lot of people are also saying how, you know, their mental clarity is starting to get really sharp. Restoring muscle and or skeletal conditions. So helping, because it's a collagen, it helps with collagen and repairing the stem cells. You know, bones are starting to repair, which is quite miraculous. Sleep, improving sleep. Everyone has been saying how their sleep is so much deeper. I know with me that I used to toss and turn. It would take me an hour to fall asleep, and now it's like, oh my God, you know, in the morning I'll wake up and I think I went to sleep quite quickly. I didn't have that hour that I was tossing and turning. So, and that's been the last year. Skin appearance as well. A lot of people are starting to see reduction of wrinkles, sunspots, you know, moles and things like that disappearing. For me too, my daughter, over Christmas, she said to me, Mum, your pores are really looking good. They're tight, that you don't have the holes that you used to have before. So yeah, there's some remarkable things that the X39 is you know, doing for people. You know, it's saying here, achieving optimum health, a state of a complete physical, mental and social well-being. So, you know, this is what's happening with people. Go to the next slide. Thanks, Sally Ann. So I love this, the results of a topography map of a lady 77 years old. So this lady was, I think, a yoga instructor. And even though she was doing yoga, she had quite a lot going on in her head. Now, the first scan is her brain mapping, and just using the X39 alone, you can see the red area where the inflammation in the brain is and the lack of coherence. So the second session, 3 weeks later, you see that, you know, there's no redness, so the inflammation's gone, and, you know, the brain is starting to calm down, no more inflammation, and improving the coherence. So the third session, which is the 6 weeks, complete turnaround, better brain coherence. And, you know, as it says, it can be noted that when she came in, her brain was hyperactive, as you can see in the red. Her brain calmed down dramatically at the second visit, and wearing the X39 for 3 weeks, her brain remained calm, wearing the patches for 6 weeks in the third session. So that's just remarkable. And there's a lot of studies that you can find in the back office, and I'm sure all of us can share some of the studies that have got different people's brain mapping. Next one too, Sally Ann, thanks. So this is where, you know, the study of the brain shows you here the long-term results and case studies. So the first day using the patch, the X39, 4,000 genes begin to reset. Within the 6 weeks, the brain becomes balanced, like you saw in the study before. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. And as Sally Ann says, you know, collagen isn't just skin, it's all your organs, everything's made up of collagen. So within the 6 months, heart reversing in age. And I know Shelley, a lady who told me about this remarkable technology, has some wonderful stories to share. Maybe not now, but something about her dad with his heart. So yeah, it's quite incredible. So as Sally Ann said, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. So that's what David Schmidt likes to keep reminding us. So
yeah, he's taken it up a notch. He's like, I'm not just going with anti-aging. You know, that was the jam last 10 years. Now we're actually into reversing age, and it's biohacking. This is technology that you'll start to hear about more and more and more in the coming years. You know, they've been talking about med beds. I mean, essentially, the miracles that we've witnessed with this technology in the last two and a half years, whilst it's been in Australia, has been absolutely life-changing. So how do you wear this patch? It's really simple. What I love about it is it's not another product that you need to take before meals, half an hour after meals, 20 minutes before bed, with food, without food, 3 to 4, you know, building. It's not that, because I think a lot of us, if you've had a chronic health condition like I did, you get supplement fatigue. We've all got a drawer of them somewhere, like a box in the kitchen or somewhere that they've all, I call it the supplement graveyard. This is not that. And this is essentially just peel the sticky off, pop it on wherever it hurts, although the clinical studies have been done on the C7 or under the umbilicus, the belly button. Wear it for 12 hours during the day, and then discard the patch at night. So what we suggest to most of our patching buddies is pop it near your toothbrush, brush your teeth in the morning, pop the patch on, brush your teeth at night, pop the patch off, like take the patch off, and then put it on a fur baby, on a cat, on an indoor plant, and then watch it thrive. You're doing this each day, so a new patch each day. You can wear more than one at a time. It's just that because we're all beautifully bio-individual, I'd usually say start with one and then see how you feel. But if you've had a history of, say, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, a lot of people with chronic conditions can find that 2 patches really does elevate that transformation. And for women in Australia and New Zealand, we want to drink 2.1 litres of water, men 2.8. So you really want clean, filtered water. Now, it's sophisticated, yet simple to explain. Stick it where it hurts. But the life-changing testimonies are what keeps us all coming back. If you've ever witnessed someone that just thanks you for sharing this technology, it is just enough to fuel you to get out of your own way to say something. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we're going to hear from the beautiful Kylie.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming along. Thanks, Sally and Steph, so far. Very good. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Very tardy. I've had an interesting experience with the X39. I know the best part about it is I just recently had about 6 weeks off it. There was a part of me that wanted to experiment with it, and some other reasons going on, but I kind of got to a point where I was just like, is it working? What's actually happening here? So having a break. And in the last couple of weeks, I have fully understood what it's been doing. The change going backwards through symptoms has not been great. So my story is about menopause and mold exposure, basically. I've come to understand how much my body was going through with these 2 things. And that's just been cemented over the last 6 weeks. The patches have been holding me in a much higher level of health than I was realising when I came off them. The environment I'm living in is having an impact on me far more than I had anticipated and understood. So for me, the mix of menopause and mold, it's very similar in there's a lot of aches and pains, fatigue, disturbed sleep, like inflammation and puffiness and bloating and all that kind of thing going on in the body. So I did notice them when I first started really, really improved, like sleep, I don't struggle going to sleep. It's a bit of a joke amongst family and friends. I go to sleep before my head hits the pillow. So that wasn't the measure. It was staying asleep and the depth of my sleep that I really needed to get a grip on, which this really worked. The brain fog cleared really quickly. It's like when you look through binoculars and you just got to tweak it that little bit to get clarity. It was like that in my brain. And that happened like in the first couple of days of wearing the patches. I thought that was really amazing. So there's been a long list of things very similar to Steph that I've ticked off along the way. But having that time off and just noticing the aches and pains coming back, the intolerance to the heat, and I was just getting really grumpy and whingy, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Even my son said, because I was whinging about something, he said, oh, I've been off the patches, I need to get back on. He goes, I've actually noticed. And I said, oh, what have you noticed? He goes, you're kind of like, oh, everything's hard. He goes, I've seen the drop in energy and your mood, and it's like a bandwidth. When I'm wearing them, my bandwidth has increased. I'm more capable of more. So yeah, it's been a very interesting little journey having that break for a little bit. And then 2 days, I've only been wearing them again for 2 days. My eyes are open again. My energy's coming back. And I'm like, wow, I really didn't understand what was already happening. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting way to have a testimony by taking them off for a while and not experiencing them.
Excellent.
And coming back on.
That's so
it was interesting to know a small period of time how much changed again. So yeah.
Wow, isn't that interesting? I mean, that makes sense to my clinical brain. I'm like, okay, so we're patching, we're increasing glutathione by 30%. If there's mold and menopause, you know, they're plugging the detoxification pathway. So in my head, I'm like, it makes sense. But we don't all have that information. So to be able to reflect on that, and I think sometimes I try, like, I'm like, I've been patching for just over 2 years, and I think I just won't wear them today. I'll just see how I feel. And by the end of the day, I'm like, why do I do that?
Yeah.
You know, because and a lot of people say, how long do I have to wear them for? I think the difference that you feel is, and this was described by Dr. Stacey, is when you're not patching, you're putting down the handbrake. So if the patching was handbraking the aging process, what we're doing by not patching is we're putting the handbrake down and letting the car roll downhill. Because we're always aging. Like, we're not going to stop that process entirely, but what we are doing is we're slowing it down and making it more graceful. And I think for $6 odd a day, like, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah. Well, I've definitely come to the point where I'm not going to be without them for quite a while yet. So
yeah, don't worry, you're not alone. You're not alone. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
I guess when you're reasonably healthy, you kind of question what's the point. And I get kind of, when I go to talk to somebody about it, I kind of think about that in my head and go, this person looks really healthy. Why would I mention this? But like we've all said, we don't know what's going on underneath. We don't know what's going on inside. And I think one of the big things when I read one of the studies about just even 6 months in, the age reversal, the biological age reversal of your heart and your cardiovascular system, we've got you know, stuff in our family lines that is could be quite worrying over time. So to know that you're safeguarding your future to some degree with this, I think is really invaluable. It's quite priceless. So
that's definitely how I felt as well.
System. So we're thinking about the brain, we're thinking about all sorts of things now with this. So yeah.
Amazing. And I think Marie was prepared to share as well what's been happening for her, if that's okay with you, Marie. I'll ask you that, Marie. Thanks, Kylie. That's amazing.
Hello. Hey. Thank you, Kylie. That was good. So my name's Marie. So Kylie introduced them to me, and I decided that, what had happened last year. So in May, I'd gone overseas to Malaysia and had an accident and ended up in Vietnam, 15 days in hospital there with a leg injury. Came back to Australia end of May and went back in hospital for 4 days, and then had all this antibiotics and that happening. And I started patching in June, and I believe that with the patching, it really helped with the wound healing. I took over the care of my wound myself, and I used manuka honey and colloidal silver and patching, and I believe that really enhanced my healing. So I've got a lovely scar. My brother and sister calls it gummy because it looks like a U, looks like a shark. So I then started. So in July I started with the Eon patch as well. I thought, well, I'm going to go for it, and it's going to help, which it has. I was going through menopause, the brain fog and the not being able to talk and or not remembering words, not being able to say them, knowing the words, but all that happening. I would wake up in the morning and I'd have pain in my feet and in my body. So that's gone. I found that I have thicker hair, and I thought it was just me. And then, well, both Kylie and I went to a hairdresser's, and she goes, "Wow, what are you doing? Your hair's thicker." And I'm going, "Really? You think so?" So that was wonderful to hear from someone else that that didn't know about it. My emotions are more even. I'm calmer, so I'm not doing that, highs and lows and all that. In August, I was able to be present and have the strength to help support my son and daughter-in-law go through a major thing. And I was able to be there to help them fully. And then we had another death, and that was quite hard. And then so in October, that was my big thing. So in October, so that's 4 months of taking it. I was never good at going up and down stairs, and I went and did a market with Kylie and came back, and we had to go upstairs. I think there was about 20 stairs. We had to go upstairs to take things, put things away and come down them and that. And I was thinking, oh, well, do I go up or do I not? And I went, no, I'm going to do this. Grabbed something and I went up. And then I came down and went, oh my God, oh my God, I did it. I did it with so much ease. And then I think I remember telling Kylie, I did it. I went up the stairs and down the stairs with greatest of ease. So so that's another great thing. I've just started using the X49. So I've noticed that I think it's only been 4 days and that. So I'm noticing that there's less, not so much hunger, but it's less wanting to pick, wanting to, eat everything in sight. So so I'm really pleased with them, and I have to remind myself that things, I have to look at it as what has changed. So I have to remind myself what has changed and that. The other one was I had spots on my skin, which I'm finding that they've got smaller and that. So yeah.
Powerful.
So
And that's what, like now
9 months.
9 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we say, like, a lot of people will sometimes they get to the 4 to 5 week mark and they're like, nothing's changing. But there's like a hump, right? And we usually say often it's 1 month for each decade of life. And that's where you've essentially reset things. And it's interesting, your walking up the stairs story corresponds with about your 4-month mark, which I thought was pretty interesting. But resilience has been a common theme because, you know, the thing is, life is always going to come at us. There's nothing that we can do to slow down the pace. It's more just how we respond to the circumstances. And I can say that my ability to respond to situations has certainly, the bandwidth, as Kylie said, I can certainly agree to that. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. Thank you, Marie. That's incredible and very hope-giving. We're going to shift gears just a little bit, and we're going to start talking about how to get involved, and then also we're looking to partner up with people. You know, we're looking to partner up and train people that are looking to not only claim their health but their wealth. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you just want to get patching, that's totally cool. And we respect that. We're not going to push you or force you to do anything that you don't want to do. But what we have witnessed within our beautiful friends is that, a little bit like Marie's story, she's gotten to that 9-month mark and she's going, you know what, I feel like I want to share this. And a little bit the same with Kylie. She's trialed the product to her own benefit and is now going, I feel confident to share this with people I love. I trust it. I've seen enough tech and health to know. So if you want to go and do a deep dive, you could do a 4-hour dive just on this website, which is thisisit.info.com. There is homepage with doctors' talks. Halfway down that page, there's a full medical panel where they talk about why would a doctor use the technology, how the technology works by the inventor. We also have the patents and the study information. There's an additional tab called testimonials, and that's been added, which is via ailment. So if there's someone on your heart that you know has a specific condition or diagnosis, you can go and share that information with them and give them confidence that something similar has been supported with this technology. LifeWave as an organisation, we have to update this slide. We've been in so much momentum, but we've got a 20-year-old organisation, and in 2023, we bounced to 430 million. So it started at 20 million in 2021. Just after this, the X39 came out. So this is really the technology that has changed the trajectory of the organisation. And this is what took the business from the 20 million in turnover. Now we just closed out 2024 with $650 million. We have a commitment in our team to take LifeWave to $1 billion in 2025 this year. So we're doing it. Whether or not you come with us or not is up to you. We are legally in 75 countries. And as we know from the patent, this is not another Me Too product. It's not like another vitamin or mineral or collagen or some weight loss hack that they suggest is going to work, which most people don't get shifts with. This is activation of your own body's ability to heal itself. We were voted, and we still are, #1 at businessforhome.org. So if you jump on there, you will see that we are #1. Now, this company here deals with direct selling organizations. So they're just tracking direct selling businesses. So we are #1. We were most of last year, and we still are. This is David Schmidt. This is Meredith Burkich, who I had the privilege to be with in Vietnam in November, and the company paid for my husband to go over. This is Steve and Gina Merritt, who have created our training platform. They have been in direct selling combined for nearly 50 years. They have created income within the last 32 months that is, I can't even say how much it is because it's just insane. But I can guarantee you that if any of us made even 10% of what they've created, we would be cheering, because this is not about making income claims. These are people that are very aware of the industry. They know how to do it. They don't have to get out of their own way. Whereas people like me that have never had success in a direct selling organization really had a lot of skill development that needed to take place before I felt confident. We were awarded the Direct Selling News 2024 Global Bravo Awards, which means that we have a level of excellence within LifeWave and the organisation. This is the new head office that we opened in Utah last October, and these are our training conferences that occur in the US twice a year, and we have virtual tickets. So this is everything that you could possibly need to know by some of the top leaders to teach us. So, you know, if you're going to do an apprenticeship in any new business, this is definitely powerful, and the systems are in place. So what's important to you? I don't know about you, but spending time with family could be just, you know, you might be like ships passing in the night and you're like, if I had more cash, if I had more health, I could spend more time in that space, you know, picking up the grandkids. Do you need more time? Are you trading time for money and you're not finding balance in your life and you're a little bit tired of it? Do you want the freedom? I know most people that we work with as brand partners, one of their highest values is freedom. Do you want more security in your life financially? Do you like to travel? I got sent to both Korea and Vietnam last year. They love sending us on trips for free. Or do you just want better health? Do you want to reduce your debt? It's really your story. You're writing your own future, and we will support you and meet you wherever you're at. We feel like our goal is to facilitate you in this process and just hold space for you with where you're at. So how does it work? The system is pretty well structured. You're building two teams, left and right. And so this is, say, your auntie, your grandma, your best friend, your next door neighbor. This would position you to go manager within the organization, which essentially unlocks the 4 ways to be paid. And this can create up to $25,000 US weekly. It's not an income claim. That's just one of the ways to get paid. The others are uncapped. And what do I mean by that? So if I say share this technology with Shelley, and Shelley shares it with Stephanie, and Stephanie catches up with Kylie and says, hey, I've got something pretty cool. And Kylie's looking at Stephanie's skin and going, geez, you look healthy. These women are then going to start to learn and grow. And if I support them in that process, I'm going to be fairly remunerated by the organisation, not coming out of your pocket. This is in addition to what you're getting paid, a training fee, essentially. So I have a vested interest in helping everybody win, as does Shelley, Stephanie, and Kylie. And this is how a traditional business is not. When I owned my real estate company, I did not pay people further down ranks. In this industry, Steph can come in and actually create more wealth than me, which is beautiful. So how do we get started? In the 75 countries, we are in US dollars. So this is three sleeves. Each sleeve is 30 patches. We have here 295 US, which is approximately, I haven't checked today's exchange, about $530. This is the advanced for a business builder for a couple. That works out to be about $900, and that's essentially 6 sleeves. Or the premium pack, which I did as a business builder. It was great for me to say, okay, Shelley, you want to get started on your patches, borrow these, and when yours arrive, loan me one. So it essentially became like a little mini warehouse, and it just has an energy of its own. If you are building the business, there is an importance of being on a subscription because it does collate points. Points equate to cash. We can go into more detail on that. There is a full website, which I mentioned before. There is a full training platform to teach you everything that you need to know about the business. You don't need to guess. Every step of the way, there is a video or a strategy. And so I guess we would just leave you with, what is it that you'd like to change in your life? Are you just looking to claim your health? Or is there a part of you that's like, you know what, an extra $200 to $500 a week could really be life-changing? an extra $1,000 a week, an extra $2,000 a week, an extra 25 grand a week. Really, I don't know where you're at. I know for me, I was just lit up by the beautiful testimonies that came back to me. And that's what's inspired me the entire way. The fact that I've been paid along the way quite handsomely is a bonus, but we get to bless others. So we would love to help you get started with this technology if you feel like it's right for you. And just thank you for coming tonight. Thanks for having us. Thank you, Kylie, and thank you, Marie. If for those of you that are on, I just really encourage you, just circle back to the person that invited you tonight, and you can essentially just say to them, hey, I'd love to get patching. Can you help me get started? Or I see a business opportunity. I'd love to partner up and understand more about that. Or you might simply just say, look, I need more information, and where I'd love to view the information from is this lens. Do you have any resources that talks about Alzheimer's or any specific element? And one of the team will help the brand partner find some really cool stuff to share with you so that you can make an informed decision about your health, but also an informed decision about the wealth opportunity as well. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Sally Ann.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks, Marie.